Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya भगवत्योत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussions and study on Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are in chapter 20 now. We completed almost 3-4 chapters, which are they are explaining about mostly about started with 13-14 chapter until now 19 chapter. We discussed about Varahate pastimes in the third canto. Now the section changes to bit. Of course, it's a part of Visarga only, but part of Visarga in the sense after you definitely studied 5-6 chapters of third canto and 10th chapter and 12th chapter of third canto. We discussed about Sarga and Visarga a little bit. Both second and third canto are considered like a Sarga and Visarga of 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshanamotaya Manvantar Ishanukata Nirodho Muktirashraya. Out of 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam, all the cantos are divided into, of course, all the topics are there in all the cantos, but majorly some are categorized into, some are Sarga, Visarga, etc. So second and third cantos are considered like a Sarga and Visarga. First is considered like more of an introduction. And there also many other aspects are present. Definitely Krishna Samanabonam is present in the first canto as a most major sections also present. Krishna is present many of the chapters directly. So that's why these cantos are not exactly, but predominantly a topic is presented. So mainly second and third cantos are considered like a second, third, and fourth are considered like a Sarga and Visarga. And fifth is Sthanam. The planetary systems will come in the fifth canto. So Sarga, Visarga, in the part of Sarga and Visarga, what is Sarga? What is Visarga? Anyone wants to say something about Sarga and Visarga? What is the main difference between Sarga and Visarga?
Haribol, Prabhuji, Sarga is created by Lord himself only, and Visarga is a secondary creation created by Lord Brahma.
Very good. So, first Sarga is the main creation done by Supreme Lord himself, till the point Brahmaji takes birth and Brahmaji starts creating Prajapatis. Till that point, it's called Sarga. Once the Brahmaji takes over whatever created, then it's called Visarga. So just like we set up the kitchen, setting up the kitchen is done by all the management and etc. So once the cook starts doing something from the ingredients, that is called Visarga, creation by the cooks. But all the ingredients, bringing all the ingredients is not in the hands of Brahma. Brahma cannot bring all the ingredients. It's all given by the Supreme Lord himself. So all the ingredients has to be stored, has to set up, and all the everything has to be brought from market and keep this setup ready. And then cooks will come and start manifesting items, different items. Similarly, Supreme Lord gives all the ingredients, sets everything, and that's how Sarga is done. And then from there, Visarga, Brahmaji starts creating other things. And you have seen a little bit about the Visarga also in 10th and 12th chapters. So many variations of all the animals and trees and one-hoofed and four-hoofed, all the different categories of creation you read in the 12th chapter. And here especially also it's a part of Visarga what the discussion started that after Brahmaji created Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, what happened for that question? So from there it little detour happened. Detour in the sense that because when Swayambhu Manu asked, my dear Brahmaji, my dear father, I want to serve you. And there that discussion was very much amazing about how of course there is a different topic, obedience of a son to the father and all explained. But Swayambhu asked, where is my place to serve? There is no kitchen only, how to cook at all. So immediately Brahmaji, that's how the situation started. Hey, where is earth itself? So then the whole pastimes of Varadev we studied almost around 5-6 chapters. 14, 15, 14 asked the question. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20th. Till that we did a Varadev pastime. And of course, this is a part of Visarga only. And in this chapter, basically, again, that what it is speaking on Visarga, that is continues in this chapter a little bit. And then in terms of how creation, it is in the 20th chapter is explained. In terms of Upakyan, Katha, 21st chapter starts with how he created Prajapatis, how it started again, Kardamani and other pastime happens there from there. How Swayambhu Manu Shadrupa had daughters, how they are married to different sages, and of them the prominent was Devahuti and Kardamanis. So that story continues from 21st chapter. The Visarga, how it happened. In terms of Katha, it starts, but this chapter is more of a Visarga only. And also Sarga is also a little bit explained. Just to explain Visarga, the Sarga is also summarized in 3-4 verses, as we are seeing here, that 12 to 15 explain Sarga, the primary creation. And then Visarga 16 to 53 explains Brahmaji creation. So various cantos or various chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam explains creation and Sarga and Visarga in various angles. Some details maybe somewhere it's more expanded, somewhere it is short is spoken, some are in different details are given, some are not details are given. So it will be easy or as we go through again and again those the sections, it will be more comprehensive understanding, we can get it. And I also want to show one small video also. Is this Pavaneshwar Prabhu is the our stalwart acharya for this creation and cosmology both. How from the Srimad Bhagavatam point of view, I think he might have attended his courses etc. when he came to Pune. But his videos are also available on YouTube, Bhagavad Cosmology. We will just discuss according to, especially this chapter is like he gives a summary of all the chapters from previously also, previous chapters or previous cantos. In second canto also we had little bit Sarga explained. So we will see kind of a summary of all those things. It will be easy to understand also. It will give a overview of how creation happened, how Visarga also takes place. So because on the as a part of this chapter also many slokas covering that Visarga. So they are also covered in that small video. So we will see accordingly. And we will try to understand the text and the video from both comparison. Okay, so that's the main topic of this chapter. Of course, first part is more about how Shaunaka Rishi is asking Sutta Goswami. And he's glorifying Vidura for his questions and for his character, for his all the qualities. So he was asking question. Till now the conversation is going on about what explained by Maitreya to Vidura about the pastimes of Varahadev. He didn't want to raise a new question, or he didn't want to independently ask some other question, keeping aside the what is going on conversation. What Sutta Goswami is speaking about was speaking about Varahadev. And that was asked by Vidura to Maitreya Muni only. So he wanted to continue the same in the sense that what Vidura inquired after that, after hearing the Varahadev pastimes. So his question is also in line with Vidura's question. So in that way, he wanted to also give respect to Vidura's conversation, what is going on, what Sutta Goswami was explaining to all the sages. So in that sense, in the topic, Vidura's glorification comes here in the first 8 verses. So Shaunaka Rishi glorifies Vidura. And he only asks, okay, what Vidura asked about Brahma's creation, what happened afterwards. So that's Shaunaka Rishi glorifies and also requests Sutta Goswami to explain what Vidura asked. And that's how the conversation goes ahead. Yeah. What happened? The screen is 1 minute. Screen is yeah. So this 20th chapter. We'll start with Shaunaka Uvacha. महिं प्रतिष्ठाम् अद्यस्य सौते स्वायम्भुवो मनुः कान्यन् कान्यन् अन्वतिष्ठद्वाराणि मार्गायावर जन्मनाम्.
Sri Shaunak inquired, O Sutta Goswami, after the earth was again situated in its orbit, what did Swayambhuva Manu do to show the path of liberation to persons who were to take birth later on? The appearance of the Lord as the firstborn incarnation occurred during the time of Swayambhuva Manu, whereas the present age is in the period of Vaivasvata Manu.
So, of course, first he asked about what was going on. Margaya, 'Margaya Avarajanmana'. So in order to upcoming living entities, the future living entities, those who are going to take birth later on, so for them, what did Swayambhuva do to show the path of liberation? So Prabhupada explains that word. So Swayambhuva, after earth was placed, Swayambhuva is now is given in charge. He is supposed to do something. So he is asking especially about, because the jivas are coming here to enjoy the world, enjoy sense gratification. That's how we are get caught. The living entity gets caught here. Maya Mukta Jivera Nahi Swatah Krishna Gnan. They was influenced by Maya. Also Krishna Bahirmukha Hoya. Krishna Bahirmukha Jiva. Krishna Bahirmukha. Because the living entity is became opposite to the desires of the Lord. He is taking birth here or coming here to the material world. So that's how, but though they are coming, but the creation also made in such a way that there are also opportunities there to get liberated from the creation. It's not that one is damned completely to completely here only we have to suffer eternally. No. The path of liberation is also shown, though it's a path of bondage, the whole material creation. But there are many opportunities, and both are there. Whatever living entity wants. If the living entity wants to continue in this creation, in the Nitya Paddha stage, yeah, it has opportunities. All the opportunities are there to continue. How much ever he wants to enjoy, he can continue to enjoy, no problem. Of course, that enjoyment is only in the name of external name of suffering only, as Prabhupada explains. Another name of suffering. But the process of liberation is also created by Brahmaji, Swayambhu Manu, of course, by the direction of Brahmaji. That's what Prabhupada explains here. So he explains about Manu's periods and how the creation happens. The summary of creation, purpose of creation is explained by Prabhupada. Read this one. Hare Krishna. Someone read the underline.
It is understood here that Manu creates scriptural regulations for the salvation of the conditioned souls who come to the material world for material enjoyment. The Lord is so kind that any soul who wants to enjoy in this material world is given full facility for enjoyment, and at the same time he is shown the path of salvation. Shaunaka Rishi therefore inquired from Suta Goswami, what did Swayambhuva Manu do after the reinstatement of the earth in its orbital situation?
How he is, what is doing exactly after the earth is placed in the position. That is the position of leader also. A leader is supposed to show the path. That's the main responsibility, as we know the famous verses. Guru na sasyat, janini sasyat, pitana sasyat, daivam na sasyat. So all these great responsibilities that all the leaders have, that to deliver the dependents, the subordinates, either guru or the parents or the teachers, even devatas, those who take shelter, they need to guide the dependents and subordinates to path of liberation. They should not be making dependents entangle more and more. That's a great responsibility. Then only one should become. That's how the verse is saying. Then only one should take up that roles, whatever the roles they're playing. Guru na sasyat. One should not become a guru. Janani na sasyat. Should not become a mother or father, etc. Unless one is trying to show the path of liberation to the dependents. That's the responsibility. Here Swayambhu Manu himself is a great leader. He's showing the path of liberation also. So Shaunak Rishi is asking what he did exactly for the liberation of the living entities. Okay, second. Kshatta Mahabhagavatah Krishnaikantika Suhrit. Yes. Yes. Tatyajagracham Krishne Sapatyam Agavaniti.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Shaunaka
Correct.
Rishi inquired about Vidura, who was a great devotee and friend of Lord Krishna, and who gave up the company of his elder brother because the latter, along with his sons, played tricks against the desires of the Lord.
So now, when he asked about Swayambhu, Shaunakuruji started with asking about Swayambhu, what did he do? And now he's asking about Vidura because the conversation was going on. He remembered that conversation. He wanted to ask in that sense, in their conversation only. He wanted to continue the conversation. That's why he brought out Vidura Maitra Samvad, which was going on. So about Vidura's qualities are mentioned here. Shonagiri Rishi inquired about Vidura, and Vidura's qualities are mentioned. Who was a great devotee, friend of Lord Krishna, and what he did, any activities, who gave up the company of his elder brother because the later, along with his sons, played tricks against desires of the Lord. Sorry. Yes. Yes. Tyajagrajam Krishna. So Tyajam, whom he gave up, Agrajam, his elder brother. Why? Krishna Sapatyam Agavaniti, because they all Sapatyam, along with their sons, along with their children, this Dhrashtra, along with the Sapatyam, along with the 100 sons, Agavan, offending Krishna. They are offenders to Krishna. So Tatyaja Agrajam. So he gave up, he abandoned. So that is the prime quality of Vidura is brought out here. Now definitely other qualities are mentioned, Mahabhagavat, why he became Mahabhagavat and how is Mahabhagavat Krishna, Ekantika, how it is qualified. So that is the main qualities brought out, that yeah, he could not stay in a place where Krishna and his devotees are offended. So that's the glory of Vidura. That's how he's mentioning. In that sense, he's mentioning he's a great devotee and friend of Krishna. So Prabhupada explained the same point, how a devotee cannot tolerate a devotee. Yeah, we hear Prabhupada also many times explains what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned. Atranadapi sunijena taror api sahishnuna. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became so angry when Lord Nityananda Prabhu was beaten, or he was attacked by Jagai and Matai. So that there Prabhupada explains, yeah, Lord Chaitanya himself mentioned that one should be very tolerant than a tree, etc., etc. But how he became so angry? Yeah, for oneself one should be very humble. But when it comes to for the devotees, for Krishna, for institution, one should take necessary actions. So in that same sense, Prabhupada brings out here that the point of Vidura here. Vidura is unable to, he could not tolerate these people who are offending Krishna and so critical about their devotees of Krishna also. So he left that place. Yeah, read the highlight portion.
Yes, Prabhu. As a devotee, Vidura showed by example that anywhere that Krishna is not honored is a place unfit for human habitation. A devotee may be tolerant regarding his own interest, but he should not be tolerant when there is a misbehavior towards the Lord or the Lord's devotee.
So of course, it takes quite a deep understanding and relationship with the Lord, with the institution, with the acharyas. Then only one will be able to try to do something when there is either attack physically or scripturally or philosophically. Of course, according to one's capacity, one should defend or one should go away from that place. So what Vidura is doing, he is just leaving that place where Krishna is not honored, Krishna's devotees are not honored. You might have heard many things in regards to this topic of what happened, what we should do when there are offenses towards a spiritual master or the Krishna or institution, etc. So according to our capacity, either we defeat. Actually, it mentioned that one should cut off the tongue, and one should other person, the opposite party who is doing that, and one should, or at least one should leave that place immediately. Actually, one should defeat in arguments. If one is unable to do that, cutting off the tongue and etc., one should defeat the in argument other party, or one should go away from that place. And these are different ways of how to deal a particular situation. Vidura is going away from that place because that is a place is not at all. Of course, that is because our spiritual life will be spoiled by hearing the offenses of the devotees and Krishna. We unnecessarily spoil our spiritual life. Our consciousness will be contaminated more and more. So that's how it's recommended. That's Prabhupada is very much focusing on. Yeah, we can defend, we can try to protect to the degree that we have relationship as a deeper and deeper, either with spiritual master, or institution, or the scriptures, or the philosophy, or understanding. To the degree we are convinced, we have faith. We can see so many incidents in a ISKCON also, how devotees defended the institution philosophically or physically. Also, there were so many attacks. In Mayapur, there was attacks in 70s, and devotees lost their, of course, their bodily parts in fighting the attackers. Various things happen, definitely. But yeah, the point is that we try to defend based on it. It will happen only based on our relationship or identifying with the with the philosophy and with identifying with the Lord, with the devotees, with spiritual master. To the degree we are very deeply connected, that's how we can defend. It happens now in social life also. When somebody is trying to attack our dear, our loved ones, our relatives, or our anyone, somebody is attacking, we immediately go and do something against that. So that happens similarly here also. So that's the point of Vidura's great qualities explained, that he is so dear to the Lord also and his devotees, and he could not stay in the place, so he left. That's how Sonakrishi is glorifying Vidura, his quality of a deep attachment to Krishna and his devotees. Vaipayanad anavaro mahitve tasya dehajaha sarvatmana shrita krishnam tatparam swapyanuvratah tatparam chapyanuvratah.
Vidur was born from the body of Vedvyas and was not less than he. Thus he accepted the lotus feet of Krishna wholeheartedly and was attached to his devotees.
Glorifying Vidura more. First 8 verses, Sonakrishi glorifies Vidura and his character. How Vidura is non-different from Vedavyas. He's non-different from Vedavyas himself, is Supreme Lord, especially in this 28th cycle. And we know, Prabhupada writes about the story of Vidura, how he was born from Shudra mother, from Vedavyas. That story Prabhupada a little bit explains. But still, he is, though Vichitravirya is the main personality, the brother of Dhritarashtra. But Vidura was born from Vedavyas, of Shudra mother. But he is non-different, or he is equally par with Vedavyas in terms of learning, in terms of qualities. He is very much glorified for Vidura's character and personality and his love towards Supreme Lord. So that's Prabhupada explains a little bit here. Yeah. He accepted Krishna as his worshipable Lord and followed his instructions wholeheartedly. Yeah, both by birth and by his activities. Is glorious. Okay. Kimanvapruchan Maitreyan विरजास्तीर्थसेवया उपगम्य कुशावर्त आसीनं तत्त्ववित्तमम्.
Vidura was purified of all passion by wandering in sacred places, and at last he reached Haridwar, where he met the great sage who knew the science of spiritual life, and he inquired from him. Shaunaka Rishi therefore asked, what more did Vidura inquire from Maitreya?
So now he is asking the question, what did Vidura inquire from Maitreya after the Varaha pastimes? So Kushavarta is Haridwar or Haridwar. Both names are given. Haridwar means Hari ka Dwar. Haridwar, Lord Shiva's abode. Haridwar, Hara is Lord Shiva, Hari is Lord Vishnu. Both names are there. Kushavarte. So Kim Anvapruchan Maitreyam, what did he ask? Virajas Tirtha Sevaya. Viraja, he purified the passion. That's what the main meaning of Tirtha Sevaya. By going to the holy places, he get rid of all kind of passion. That's what main direct meaning. Viraja, Vidura who was without material contamination. Viraja, Raja, Sattva Raja Tamo. Without contamination, but Vishnu Thakur mentions he went to Tirthas not to get rid of his own Raja, but to clean the contamination of the Tirthas. That's what also in first canto we read when Yudhishthira Maharaj glorifies when Vidura comes to his palace. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani swantastena kadapradaha. That's how he is glorified. Great souls travel to the tirthas not to purify themselves, but purify tirthas themselves, because they carry the Supreme Lord in their heart. What else is their contamination to purify? So that's how not just he is in the contaminated, but he wanted to. He is establishing the glory of tirtha also. They have that potency to purify tirthas. And Prabhupada takes that point that Virajas Tirtha Sevaya. What does the Tirthas actually? What is the main function of the Tirthas, etc.? What one should do there? Prabhupada explains here. Please read this one.
Uh,
Here the words. Continue कीजिए मैम.
नहीं, continue, Prabhuji.
Here the words Virjas Tirtha Sevaya refer to Vidura, who was completely cleansed of all contamination by traveling to places of pilgrimage. In India, there are hundreds of sacred places of pilgrimage, of which Prayaga, Haridwar, Vrindavan, and Rameshwaran are considered principal. After leaving his home, which was full of politics and diplomacy, Vidura wanted to purify himself by traveling to all the sacred places, which are so situated that anyone who goes there automatically becomes purified. This is especially true in Vrindavan. Any person may go there, and even if he is sinful, he will at once contact an atmosphere of spiritual life and will automatically chant the names of Krishna and Radha that we have actually seen and experienced.
So Prabhupada is glorifying Tirtha Sevaya, Tirtha going to Tirtha. That is also one of the 5 potent ways of 64 principles that are explained in Nectar of Devotion. Dhama Seva, Dhama, be staying in Dham. So staying in Dham, of course, we may not be staying in Dham permanently, but at least taking darshan, going there and taking advantage of the holy atmosphere, as Prabhupada mentioning here, they're so potent that once we go there, we have a different experience. There is a great change in the experience. Of course, we know that when we go there, It's not just going for sake of taking baths. Prabhupada also many times mentions that Tirtha buddhi salilene karhichit. Tirtha buddhi. Tirtha is going to not just taking bath, but to hear from personalities. So by going to holy places, mainly our process is Shravanam Kirtanam. But when we do that in a holy place, from a great personality, from advanced devotees, or from perfect devotees, that has a great potency in our hearts, on the consciousness. As Prabhupada is glorifying, all these places are very potent in themselves. And because the Adhishtan, the place also has a great, that it has its own potency. Our spiritual life can be practiced anywhere, that's there, but still the holy places have that potency, extra advantage. So if that's how we try to go to yatras and stay for some time and hear from devotees and practice our sadhana. We take inspiration and again we try to come back to our places to glorify more and more, to increase our intensity of sadhana and practice. So that's how the holy place, of course, if we have the opportunity and want to blessings of superiors, and we can definitely stay in Dham and try to practice spiritual life. That is there, that definitely is there, as we have read in Nectar of Instruction. How one can take advantage of going to holy place, especially Vrindavan, staying at places that have their own advantages, but we have to take under guidance, and if you want to really shift and stay in a particular dham, especially because not just staying in dham will advance, right now, because there are so many are staying in dham, but it doesn't mean that they are going to back to Godhead immediately. No, we have to be careful. Even while staying dham also, we need to be an experience of I, as Prabhupada mentioning here that he has his own experiences of dham. Prabhupada mentioning how he has seen the great changes in the going to the places and seeing the people, seeing the taking advantage of the association will matters. Of course, particular experiences we may not be able to see or directly have. We may have, we may not have, but at least we have greater, at least I have greater understanding how by going to Dham and hearing from a spiritual master, it has a great impact in lifting us from the material consciousness. Of course, it may be for some time, at least till that time we forget everything else, everything, because the changing physical location itself makes a lot of difference. And of course, after going there, we need to, when we follow very strictly and try to stick to the principles, hearing and chanting and doing some austerities, then we will have a lift in our consciousness and understandings. Prabhupada mentioning here that Prabhupada had a great, because he stayed himself, actually seen and experienced. That's I don't have any kind of miracles happening. But yeah, in terms of definitely, in terms of changing our consciousness, improving our consciousness, immediately after hearing, going to Dham and hearing from a self-realized personality, hearing from a spiritual master in the association of the thousands of devotees, at least I become humble right now, sitting between thousands of devotees. We are insignificant. That is my one of the understanding, that I try to make it a point to go just to feel how insignificant I am. There are so many wonderful devotees, great souls, exalted souls, and they're all coming together and we are trying to serve them in some way. It's a great opportunity, but it's a experience of humbling ourselves, because when we are staying in our own den of our forest, we are our lions in our den. But when we go out and meet thousands of devotees and seeing them and trying to hear from them, It makes us humble. That's the one of my experience. That's Prabhupada mentioned. Yeah, there are so many stories in Vrindavan. Prabhupada also mentions in NOD, Lala Babu, how he changed within a moment and went to Vrindavan. And many other stories are also there. That's the power of Dham. Yeah, Prabhupada mainly glorifying here about Tirthas. Of course, here Vidura is not going for the sake of purification, though it's externally it's mentioning like that, but is just to purify the places. Siddhi kurvanti tirthani swantastena katabrata. So what to do while going to pilgrimage, taking bath? We need to hear from bona fide devotees. So Prabhupada was explaining that one. Nattamdas Thakur, a great acharya of the Vaishnava sect, has for the present forbidden us to go to such places of pilgrimage because in this age, the times having so changed, a sincere person may have a different impression on seeing the behavior of the present residents of pilgrimage sites. He has recommended that instead of taking the trouble to travel to such places, one should concentrate his mind on Govinda, and that will help him. So he is also giving a caution. So the whole point is we go there to take inspiration and surcharged with the spiritual atmosphere by hearing from them, by associating with great souls. But unfortunately, the times have changed. If one is not feeling inspired, if rather one is becoming more contaminated or disturbed in consciousness by seeing different activities or places and so-called the holy places externally, so then one should not go at all. So better, or one should go with people, with devotees who can be like a protection for us. That's why we go with spiritual master, with devotees. That's one of the caution Prabhupada is bringing out here. So hearing and meditating on Lord can be done at any place. Why to go to the holy place? It is not for ordinary persons. Ordinary persons may still derive benefit from traveling to holy places like Prayag and Mathura, Vrindavan, Haridwar. So then one can say, okay, we will stay here only, we will not go. No, we will not, we cannot concentrate on the Lord in any place because we are not so advanced. That's another point Prabhupada is bringing out. And one side, we cannot meditate on the Lord at any place right now. To concentrate one's mind on Govinda in any place is a path meant for those who are most spiritual advanced. So we cannot, because we cannot be remembering the Lord all the time. So that's why we need to travel to holy places. And when we go to holy places, and we also should be careful about that we are in the production and we are hearing from great souls. So be cautious. All glitters is not gold. That's Prabhupada is mentioning that don't be just naive and hear from anyone and everyone. So we will be disturbed. So one should be careful. Read the last lines.
If one sincerely searches for spiritual salvation, then Krishna, being situated in everyone's heart, gives him the intelligence to find a suitable spiritual master. By the grace of spiritual master like Maitreya, one gets the proper instruction and advances in his spiritual life.
So one advances in spiritual life. That's glorifying. Vidura's character is glorified. How he is so deeply attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, and he could not stay in a place where that was very offensive to the Lord and devotees. That's how he traveled throughout the pilgrimage sites. Tayo samvatato suta pravritta hi amalah kataha apo ganga iva aghagnir hare padambuzashrayah.
Shaunaka inquired about the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. There must have been many narrations of the spotless pastimes of the Lord. The hearing of such narrations is exactly like bathing in the water of the Ganges, for it can free one from the sinful reactions.
From all sinful reactions. So the Katha, he is now inquiring there must have been definitely spotless narrations of spotless pastimes of the Lord. So Shaunak Rishi is guessing, and definitely he was confident that I would like to hear more and more. Basically, that's the meaning. If you want to hear more and more, Amalah Kataha, Pravruttah Amalah Kataha, there might there might have been definitely Amalah Katah, many wonderful stories. I would like to hear what are the qualifications, or what is the glorification of Katha is like a Ganga, Apo Ganga Ivagnir. They are like Ganga, Hare Padambujashraya. Just like Ganga is flowing, it's so pure. And also water can mitigate Agni. And water is the one of the main thing that it can vanquish all the fire, opposite element. Aghagnir, the sin, the fire of sin, vanquishing all fire of sin. That's how the comparison also is very apt. Ganga, Iva, Aghagnir. Agha is a sin. Agni is like fire. So the fire of sin will be immediately put off by the Ganges of the Lord Krishna's glorification, Lord Krishna's Katha. So we would like to hear more and more. Such narrations are exactly like Ganges. Of course, we also read one of the famous verses by Shankaracharya that Mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrut gitamutam snanam samsara malanashanam. So just like we take bath every day now to remove all the contamination. Sakrut gitamutam snanam. Just by taking bath in the pure knowledge of Ganges, like knowledge of the Gita. Sakrut gitamutam snanam samsara malanashanam. It purifies from all contaminations of samsara. So that's comparison. Prabhupada glorifies the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. Any connection, whatever is in connection with the Lord, everything has a potency to purify. So first he says about water of the Ganges, because it is coming from the lotus feet of the Lord. So three things Prabhupada mentions: the water of the Ganges, it's coming from the Supreme Lord, and the Bhagavad Gita is also as good as the water gun, because it's coming from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. Right now, is coming from his lotus mouth. Water Ganges is coming from his lotus feet. So both are considered very, very, very purifying and auspicious. So anything is connected to the Lord is always auspicious. Read this one, highlight portion.
The Lord is absolute. There is no difference between his words, his perspiration, and his pastimes. The water of the Ganges, the narrations of his pastimes, and the words spoken by him are all on the absolute platform, and thus taking shelter of any one of them is equally good.
His words, like a Gita, his perspiration is I think mostly from lotus feet, what is Prabhupada is mentioning or indicating that the Ganges perspiration, lotus feet of perspiration, Ganges water coming from, or his pastimes also his pastimes, activities. All three are very potent. And he's quoting Rupa Goswami, Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchate. When anything is connected to Krishna, is on a transcendental platform. So we need to dovetail everything. If we can dovetail all our activities in relationship with Krishna, then we do not stand on the material platform, but always on the spiritual platform. So we'll be connecting to the Supreme Lord. So that's the potency of Krishna's either words or his the Ganges, the water, and his activities. So that's they are glorified by Vidura. Shaunak Muni is basically glorifying that one. There must have been definitely great katha. So then he glorified the katha also, how its katha is glorified. Tanah kirtaya badram te kirtanodara karmanaha rasagna konu trupyeta Hari Leela Amritam Piban.
Hare Krishna. O Sutta Goswami, all good fortune to you. Please narrate the activities of the Lord, which are all magnanimous and worth of glorifying. What sort of devotee can be satiated by hearing the nectarian pastimes of the Lord?
They are expressing now. Sonakrumashi, basically Sonakrushi is, of course, many times he explains this aspect of Konutrupyata, how one can be satiated. We are unable to be satiated drinking the nectar of Hari Leelamritam Piban. We want to drink more and more. Just like any festival comes, we have many times we have experiences. Drink any wonderful sweets or any items. When we like it, when we take one sip, then we want to drink more and more. Any sweet or anything that we like. So similarly, they are very much wanting to drink more and more. Hari Leelamritam Piban. So Rasagna Kona Drupyata. Rasagna, the same, almost similar lines, it will come. Vayam tu na vitrupyama. That in first canto it comes. Vayam tu na vitrupyama. Uttama shloka varnane. Swadu swadu pade pade. I'm unable to remember all the words, but there it comes. Rasagnanam swadu swadu pade pade. Vayam tu na vitrupyama. We are not satisfied. We want to hear more and more. Swadu swadu pade pade. So similarly, also in 18th chapter, first canto, he explains, he glorifies Katha. Similar lines, Natrupyata. That's the nature of Lord's Katha. Of course, definitely we may not be able to experience now. We have so much difficulty chanting the holy names for 2 hours or hearing Katha for long hours. Yeah, that's a difficulty. That's the condition stage, definitely. But yeah, as we try to take more and more regularly, as Rupa Goswami himself mentioned, Syat Krishna Namacharitat Sitapta Vidya Pittopatattara Sanasya Narochikanu Kintu Vadarat Anudinam Kalusaiva Justva Swadikramad Bhavati Tadgata Mulahantri. So we need to Kintu Vadarat Anudinam. When we take all these things, Adarat Anudinam, the more the disease will be rooted out. When the disease is rooted out from the roots, then we can definitely start tasting the nectar. So initially, definitely, it will be like bitter. Anything good, it will be like bitter. Even those edible items, the food items which are nourishing to the health are not at all tasty. 99%. Karela or whatever good things for the health, they are not very tasty in general. But whatever are spoiling health, fast foods and other things are generally very tasty. It's a very small narrow gap is there. What is tasty and also very healthy. Of course, it has to be made also very nicely. Then it can definitely it can nourishing to the health. Also, it's very tasty as well. It can be there, but generally, all the those things which are not very good in taste, but they are eventually they will be very helping us our health. Even the happiness in the mode of goodness is not at all very. It's like bitter in the initial stages, as mentioned in Gita also. It becomes like a nectar in the end. But the mode of passion, happiness in the mode of passion is like a nectar in the initial periods and it becomes a poison in the end. So that's Leelamritam, Rasagnanam, because they are relishing the nectar. They are relishing the nectar of Leela. They want to hear more and more. That's the one of the quality also that we can check ourselves. That are we improving ourselves, or are we stagnant in our spiritual life? Are we going down? We can check ourselves by understanding that how we are wanting to improve more and more. Once Prabhupada was asked, what is the symptom of good chanting? Prabhupada said, when you finish 16 rounds, if one thinks, why only 16 rounds? Why not 16,000? Prabhupada replied that, why no? Why only 16? Why not 16,000? That shows we got little taste in chanting. That's Prabhupada's very simple but sober, very profound answer for the question. So it's a very advanced stage, but still, that's how we can understand as we are. If you are feeling, oh, I'm done for the day, finally I am coming to, after the last beats of 16th round, I am seeing I am becoming happy, I'm going to end my round. So then it's not a very good sign that in a spiritual life. But definitely it's also a good thing to complete 16 rounds. That's our commitment. But still, we need to improve ourselves. So Sonak Rishi is very much, they are very, very eager to hear more and more. That's how they are releasing Krishna Katha. That's the nature of Krishna Katha itself is like that. Of course, that speaker also has to has the qualification. He has his own realizations, etc. It makes it more and more very enthusiastic, very wonderful katha. Will be there definitely. So though I am not a very good speaker, you are all tolerating. But speaker also has that role to narrate the wonderful pastimes, wonderful presentation. Of course, it's not just intellectual presentations, but he has his own realization. That's why Bhagavad Pradhano, the qualifications of speaker and the hearer are explained in 18th chapter of first canto. You might have read definitely. Bhagavad Pradhana. There only Shonakra Rishi is only saying to Sutta Goswami, Tanno vai Bhagavad Pradhano Mahattamai Kanta Parayanasya. But we are also Shushrutam, the speaker's qualities also. Speaker's qualities also Shushrutam, they are hearing, they call Shushrutam, they are eager to hear whatever may happen. So that's the qualities of a speaker, Shushrutam. Yeah, both should have qualifications. Then the katha becomes more and more nectarian to hear and to relish. Read this one, Purport.
Yes, the narration of the pastimes of Lord, which are always enacted on the transcendental platform, should be received with all respect by devotees. Those who are actually on the transcendental platform are never satiated by hearing the continuous narrations of the pastimes of the Lord. For example, if any self-realized soul reads from Bhagavad Gita, he will never feel satiated. The narrations of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatams may be read thousands and thousands of times, and still, without fail, new aspects of the subject's matter will be relished by the devotee.
I was bringing that thousands and thousands of times. Reading one time is only becoming so heavy right now. Writing exams, study, purports, question, answer. It's quite a laborious task. But yeah, that's how we need to improve ourselves. Of course, as we go through more and more, we will definitely release more and more Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and other Pandit used to release more and more. Of course, initially we may not have particular inclination towards particular topics. We can choose particular topics to read again and again. The Kathas, Prahlad, Ambarish, Dhruva, or Varahadev, or Krishna, or whatever. Whatever we like, we can repeat more and more so that we got the general taste for a particular section, particular Leela. In that way also we can develop. a taste for different aspects of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. But yeah, they are themselves in a transcendent platform. So yeah, but that is only our deficiency. We are unable to taste the nectar that is there. But by constantly chanting and hearing katha, we definitely we will come to gradually a higher positions. There was question that anyone doing 1,000+ rounds in ISKCON, I don't know exactly, but at least 64 devotees doing 64 rounds are there, definitely many devotees. I heard previously our His Grace Mudakeshwaru used to chant 128 rounds, I heard, but now I don't know how many is chanting. Previously used to chant, that's what I heard from devotees. But yeah, it depends on individual responsibilities and his spiritual life and his other obligations of life. But the main point is not just the number of rounds, but the quality of commitment also. Other services that we have and the quality of our rounds, how much quality is there in our rounds. So that also we need to see, not just the number, but the quality of the rounds and the quality of our services, the contributions, and many other aspects. Not just increasing the number of rounds is the only sign of spiritual advancement, but many other aspects also. So, but I know only one or two. I don't know now exactly, but at least 64 there are many devotees are there. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We also can increase number of rounds at least 2, 3, 4, 5. Some may be chanting little more also. Those who have time. So, but at the same time, when we are increasing the quantity, the quality also need to be focused. Quality, mainly the offenses. We need to see that the offenses are not happening, and while chanting the holy names. That's where when we can understand Bahujan me yadi kori Shravana Kirtan Tabutana Pai Krishna Pade Premadhan. Though we can chant lifetimes Bahujan me yadi kori Shravana Kirtan Tabutana Pai Krishna Pade Premadhan. One will not come to perfection when the chanting is infested with offenses. So both we need to take care. So that's our point. Okay. Of course, first this section only is little bit more explained. Otherwise, later on it goes very fast, just like other chapters. It's only a kind of creation explained. We will complete that one. एवं उग्रश्रवा पृष्ठ ऋषिभिर्नैमिषायनैः भगवत् अर्पिताध्यात्मस्तानाः श्रूयतामिति.
Translation: On being asked to speak by the great sages of Naimisharanya, the son of Romharshna, Suta Goswami, whose mind was absorbed in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, said, "Please hear what I shall now speak."
So now the connection is given. So he started speaking. Ugrashravaha. It's another name of Suta Goswami is Ugrashravaha. His name is also Ugrashrava. Why is Ugrashrava? He is fond of hearing Ugra Narasimhadev pastimes from Narasimha Puran. Shravaha is eager to hear Shrava. Ugra Shrava about Ugra Narasimhadev. That's how is explained. Is another name of Suta Goswami is Ugra Shravaha. Evam Ugra Shravaha Prashta. So he is very fond of hearing about Narasimhadev. And then by asking him, then he started replying. Sota Uvacha. हरे द्रुतक्रोडतनो स्वमायजा निशम्य घोर उद्धरणं रसातलात् लीलां हिरण्याक्षमवग्नया हतं सञ्जातहर्षो मुनिमाह भारतः.
Translation: Suta Goswami continued, Vidura, the descendant of Bharata, was delighted to hear the story of the Lord, who, having assumed by his own divine potency the form of a boar, had enacted the sport of lifting the earth from the bottom of the ocean and indifferently killing the demon Hiranyaksha. Vidura then spoke to the sage as follows.
So after the Leela, what happened is just giving connection. Before that, what happened? Hare Dhruta Krodatanoho. Hari, having assumed the form of Krodatano, the form of a boar. Swamayaya. Prabhupada explains this word Swamayaya. Swamayaya means is not by external Maya. Krishna doesn't accept the Maya, Yoga, Mahamaya, rather Yoga Maya. By Yoga Maya, he acts Swamayaya, internal potency. He takes different forms based on internal potency. So by his divine potency. In Gita also Krishna mentions Sambhavami Atmaya, that Atmaya, my own potency. Ajopisan Navya Atma Bhutanam Ishwaropisan. Bhutanam Ishwaropisan. There last line comes is Sambhavami Atmaya. Prakriti Swam Sambhavami Atmaya. Something third line is there, but Sambhavami Atmaya. My own potency I take all these forms. So the Prabhupada mainly focuses on that aspect. So here one point Prabhupada also contrasts with the Mayavadis, Mayavadi versions. Okay, let us read the purport. Read these lines.
The Mayavadi version that when Brahma assumes a form, the form is accepted from Maya is not acceptable. Because although Maya is superior to the conditioned soul, she is not superior to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She is under the control of the Supreme Godhead as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita.
So he's not under control of Mahamaya. He's controlled by Yoga Maya by his own independent free will. So he accepts all these forms in order to give pleasure to devotees and enact different pastimes. So in that way, he manifests all these pastimes. So one aspect, as Prabhupada mentioning here, that Mayavada version, that when Brahman assumes a form, the form is accepted from Maya is not acceptable. So here, so their understanding is like a Brahman. There is only one thing called Brahman. So their explanation is when the Brahman, that one absolute Chinmaya Brahman, covered by modes, there are different manifestations. Covered by modes in the sense when Brahman covered by mode of ignorance, matter produces or transforms into matter. When it is covered by mode of passion, living entities are formed. When Brahman is covered by mode of goodness, then all the avatars are formed. So that's their explanation. That's what Prabhupada is saying here, Mayavada version, that when Brahman assumes a form, so it means that when it's covered by modes, different modes, then their explanation is that mode of goodness is avatars, mode of passion is living entities, mode of ignorance is matter. So, but when you ask question, okay, from how Maya can cover Brahman, then it becomes Maya is more powerful than Brahman. Then there is no answer right now. If Brahman is the highest thing, then how can Brahman can be covered by Maya? So, but that's how the fallacy comes, that Maya cannot be covering the Supreme Lord, just like our understanding of the philosophy is that Maya cannot cover the Supreme Lord. In fact, Maya is under the Supreme Lord. Maya Adhyakshena Prakritim Suyate Sacharacharam. Maya is under control of Krishna. That's how even Vasudev saw in his vision. That in his vision in first canto we read the verses that Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranahite Amale Apashyat Purusham Purnam Mayam Chat Tapashrayam. Maya was under the shelter, Tatapashrayam. Behind Krishna is there Maya. It's not covering Krishna. It cannot at all. So that's their understanding that Maya is covering Brahman and other things are manifesting. And they say that all are illusions. Avatars are illusion. Living in it is a illusion. Matter illusion. Everything illusion. Only Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So that's their understanding that all are illusion. Even avatars are also illusion. That's avatars. What what are different manifestations of avatars? Varaha, Nrsimhaku, whatever avatars. These are all mode of goodness, Brahman. When these are also illusion. Once you realize that you are Brahman, then these are avatar also will not be there at all. That's their understanding. But we know they are all eternal. All these forms are eternal, and they manifest themselves whenever the time is needed. Whenever the time appears, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya drushitam. Krishna manifests according to the desire, according to the need. Sambhavami atmaya, by his own potency. So there's some philosophical aspect Prabhupada mentions here. Of course, as a verse himself, verse he is quoting, verse itself, Sutta Goswami is glorifying the Lord. He's manifesting his own forms, Swamaya. He is doing Leelam Hiranyaksham Avagnaya Hatam. Avagna is very insignificant, very without any kind of neglectfully he killed, without any great what to say strength or great pressure, great hard work. No, he didn't need that one. He just neglectfully only killed it. Sanjata Harshomunim Aha Bharata. So please speak what happened. And then he's speaking. Vidura then spoke to the sages, sage Maitreya as follows. After hearing that the Varaha pastime, then now Vidura is asking Maitreya. So because Shonak Muni asked the questions, what Vidura asked. So now Vidura is asking the questions. That is narrated by Sutta Goswami. What Vidura asked about Brahma's creation. What happened after that pastime? Vidura Uvacha Prajapati Sruštva Praja Sarge Prajapatin Kimarabata me Brahman Prabhurhi Avyakta Margaved.
Translation. Vidura said, since you know the matters inconceivable to us, tell me, O holy sage, what did Brahma do to create living beings after evolving the Prajapatis, the progenitors of living beings?
Continue.
Significant here is the word avaktya marg with one who knows that which is beyond our perception. To know matters beyond one's perception, one has to learn from a superior authority in the line of disciplic succession. Just to know who is our father is beyond our perception. For what? The mother is the authority. Similarly, we have to understand everything beyond our perception from the authority who actually knows.
So he is glorifying Maitreya by the word Avyakta Margavit. So Vidura is glorifying Prajapati Shustva after creating Prajapatis, Praja Sarke, Prajapatin, all the Prajapatis for the purpose of creating beings, Praja Sarke. Kim Aravata, what happened after that? Kim Aravata, what happened after that? You know everything, oh Maitreya. What did Brahma do to create living beings? So the word Avyakta Margavit is for Maitreya Mani. You know everything. Yeah, that's the nature of a disciple to glorify spiritual master, and also is a qualified because they can see things which we can't see. Spiritual master and exalted souls. That's how Vidura is glorifying Maitreya Mani. So because Maitreya Mani heard from his own spiritual master, that's how he became Avyakta Margavit. Right? Though Vidura was elderly in age to Maitreya, still he asked the question and he is glorifying Avyakta Margavit. You know better. because you heard from your own spiritual master and you understood, you realized everything. And Prabhupada is also bringing the principle and also giving a beautiful analogy to understand how we can't know on our own. We need to inquire Avyakta Margavid. So the first one, who is the first Avyakta Margavid, is Brahmaji himself. And the disciplic succession. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning. Anyone in the bona fide line of disciplic succession is Avyakta Margavid, a personality who knows that which is beyond ordinary perception. That's ordinary perception is one thing, and seeing beyond is another thing. So spiritual master shows to the disciple, it's called Shaka Chandra Nyaya. There is a Shaka Chandra Nyaya. A disciple is raised his vision by the spiritual master by giving different understandings, just like a tree and the moon analogy. Shaka Chandra Nyaya. He shows, oh, see that, see the trunk of the tree. Are you able to see? Or you see the branches of the tree? Are you able to see the topmost branches, 2 branches, are you able to see? He will keep on raising the vision of a disciple. And finally he shows, you see the moon between the branches? Oh, that is the moon. So this is called Shaka Chandra Nyaya. That which is not seen by the disciple, the moon is not seen initially because he's so caught up with the tree itself. So he gradually raises the vision of the disciple and shows that is which is ordinarily not seen, Avyakta Margavid. So that's the beauty of a spiritual master and qualification of spiritual master. He can raise the vision. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. He can show the disciple what he is unable to see ordinarily. That's the qualification. Of course, we need to also be qualified to raise the vision. Whomever we are trying to cultivate or preach or trying to, that's how we also need to be qualified. That's the responsibility of those who are trying to speak or trying to cultivate subordinates, dependents, anyone. So that's our responsibility. Avyakta Margavid. So that's where glorification for Maitreya Muni. What did he do after that creation? After that, after Srishting Prajapati Srishtva, after creating Prajapatis, especially Swayambhu Manu, how the creation went ahead? That's the question. Ye marichatayo vipra yastu swayambhuvo manuhu tavai brahmana adeshat katam yetat abhavayan.
Vidura inquired, how did the Prajapatis, such progenitors of living entities as Marichi and Swayambhuva Manu, create according to the instruction of Brahma, and how did they evolve this manifested universe?
Now how comes the here about Visarga? How did the Prajapatis create according to the instruction of Brahma? So Prajapatis were created by Brahma, of course other Manus, etc. So how did they evolve the manifested universe? How the creation started? So now it will primary creation will be explained in some verses, and then he goes to from 16 onwards till end of the chapter is the secondary creation. So now first he summarizes the primary creation sarga. Swaditiyah kim asrijan swatantra uta karmasu ahosvit samhata sarva idam smas samakalpayan.
Did they evolve the creation in conjunction with their respective wives? Did they remain independent in their action, or did they all jointly produce it?
How the creation happened? Whether they took up their wives or whether they independently did it, how did it happen? So Vidura is trying to inquire from Maitreya what happened in the creation, after primary creation. So for that, Maitreya Muni starts with primary creation, initially 3-4 verses, and then he goes to a secondary creation. Maitreya Uvacha दैवेन दुर्वितर्क्येन परेणा निमिषेण च जातक्षोभात् भगवतो महानासीत् गुणत्रयात्.
Maitreya said, when the equilibrium of the combination of the three modes of nature was agitated by the unseen activity of the living entity, by Mahavishnu, and by the force of time, the total material elements were produced.
So the primary creation we understand. So of course you might have seen the charts also. We might have been taught different charts. Now Mahavishnu glances. We will see in the video also how things happen. But here we will first go through the verses, and then we will see the short video. So first Mahavishnu, of course, the expansion of the Karnal Sai Vishnu comes from Krishna. And he is lying on he produces Karana ocean, and then he lies down on the Karana ocean. Then Mahavishnu has all the living entities with him, the Karna Sai Vishnu. Those who are not liberated, all the living entities are with him. And now he glances on the Pradhan or Prakriti, that's called. So all the living entities are, as is mentioned here, all the living entities according to their karma, Daivena. Daivena means by superior management known as destiny. So which is very difficult, which is beyond speculation. Durvitarkina, Parena by Mahavishnu, Animeshena, by potency of time, eternal time. So he invested living entities and the time also. Jatakshobhat, he agitated the Pradhan. Pradhan is basically the equilibrium state of all the three modes. Pradhan, Prakriti, is a equilibrium state of all the three modes. But when he glanced, by his glance, he invested time, also the living entities with their karma and swabhava, both are time. When the time comes into picture, then they start agitation. All the three modes starts agitated, and they are started again dominating each other, the modes, because of the time. Just like time, morning, evening, afternoon, just like sun goes, as the time progresses, the passion dominates the goodness, and then when night comes, the ignorance dominates the passion and goodness, and again by the time goodness dominates other two. So similarly in the initial part also, the time, when the time invested, so that which was equilibrium, the pradhan, and then it started, mode of goodness was dominant initially. That's called Mahatattva. So main difference between Pradhan and Mahatattva, you all definitely might have read and understood in the previous sections. I'm just giving a kind of a overall summary. So then the Mahatattva is a mode of goodness dominant, and then when the passion is dominant, then it's called Sutra Tattva. And then when ignorance is dominant, then it's called false ego. So from there, false ego, it's clearly the other creation comes. We will see that chart also. So that's how started here as Mahavishnu. Unseen activities of the living entity, the karma is there with them, and by the force of time, all the total material elements were produced. Prabhupada explains.
Prabhuji, I have a small question here.
Yeah. I'm just coming. I saw your hand. Okay, we will read the purport and we'll come back.
Yes.
Yes. Read the purport.
Yes. The cause of the material creation is described here very lucidly. The first cause is Daiva, or the destiny of the conditioned soul. The material creation exists for the conditioned soul who wanted to become a false lord for sense enjoyment. One cannot trace out the history of when the conditioned soul first desired to lord it over material nature, but in Vedic literature we always find that the material creation is meant for the sense enjoyment of the conditioned soul. There is a nice verse which says that the sum and substance of the conditioned soul's sense enjoyment is that As soon as he forgets his primary duty to render service to the Lord, he creates an atmosphere of sense enjoyment, which is called Maya. That is the cause of material creation. Another word used here is dur, dur, dur,
Durvitarkena.
durvitarkena.
Yeah.
No one can argue about when and how the conditioned soul became desirous of sense enjoyment, but the cause is there. Material nature is an atmosphere meant only for the sense enjoyment of the conditioned soul, and it is created by the personality of Godhead. It is mentioned here that in the beginning of the creation, the material nature or Prakriti is agitated by the personality of Godhead Vishnu. There are three Vishnus mentioned. One is Mahavishnu, another is Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and the third is Kshirodakshai Vishnu. The first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam discusses all these three Vishnus, and here also it is confirmed that Vishnu is the cause of creation. From
So,
Bhagavad
yeah, thank you. So here the summary is given. I don't know whether your question may be answered here by Prabhupada, but you can ask. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. So actually, it is this part is quite clear. I just wanted to know the reference of where it is
No.
given that Krishna, then from Krishna Balram comes, from there that Char, 4 Chaturvyuha comes. Because somebody in the satsang asked me that what is the reference of this sequence that is given. The first Chaturvyuha, then second Chaturvyuha, then Karanodakshai Vishnu,
Correct.
Kshirodakshai Vishnu. Yeah.
Correct.
So what is the reference, Prabhuji?
A reference actually, Sri Laghu Bhagavatamrita, our Rupa Goswami writes, in terms of Vedic literature, I need to see what he's quoting in Laghu Bhagavatamrita.
Okay.
But Rupa Goswami explains all this in his book. Of course, Chaitanya Charitamrita we can definitely quote, but especially people may not accept
New people, new people. Yes.
they may not accept the Chaitanya Charitamrita immediately. But Rupa Goswami mentions all in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, but I will check exactly whether he is quoting any other. Definitely he is quoting other Shrutis and Smritis, etc. They are there in Puranas also. Puranas also they are there. Maybe I have to come back again, seeing exactly where these are explained. Maybe next class I will surely give you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
The expansions are, we see the chart also that, of course, Chaitanya Charitamrita gives very elaborate understanding of Prabhava, Vaibhava, Prakasha, etc. All these manifestations of Krishna. Whether he is giving any references from where he's taking, I don't remember reading that any reference that he's giving Chaitanya Charitamrita. But yeah, definitely the Puranas and some literature mentioning otherwise how our acharyas are quoting on their own right now. They will not be,
Yes, Prabhuji.
yeah, without that they will not be quoting from anywhere. Definitely, I'll just check with maybe there's Kanai Krishna Prabhu or some other stalwarts. Definitely on this aspect of cosmology or creation, I'll just check and let you know. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So yeah, so this is the first phase where Lord is glancing on Prakriti and is investing time and living entities. Then what is happening? Rajapradhanan mahatas trilingo daiva choditat jata sasarja bhutadir viyad adini panchashaha. Continue.
As impelled by the destiny of the jiva, the false ego, which is of three kinds, evolved from the Mahat Tattva, in which the element of Rajas predominates. From the ego, in turn, evolved many groups of 5 principles.
So, these 5 principles, you might have seen the charts. Hope in second canto or third canto, whether the chart was shown while explaining the creation aspects. Previous speakers or teachers. You might have seen in Subodhini also, right now. But anyway, we will see that one. So read this one.
Yeah,
I'll
Prabhu,
explain.
we would like to revise, we would like to
Yeah,
revise.
sure. We'll go through. Yeah, these 5 groups. Can you read this one?
The yellow one, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Some say that there are 5 groups of 5. One group is the sense objects, one is the 5 elements, one is the 5 sense organs for acquiring knowledge, another is the senses for working, and the 5th group is the 5 deities who control these divisions.
So we will see till 15, and then I will see the video. Primary creation will complete. So yeah, from the false ego, as I said, that Rajas Pradhana, when is Rajas Pradhana, mode of goodness Pradhana is Mahatattva, when Rajas Pradhana is Sutta Tattva, from where again Trilingo Daiva Choditat, again when it becomes predominated by mode of ignorance, that's called false ego. From false ego, Bhutadir, from all the creation happens from the false ego. From there, it's other all these elements form. When the elements form, then they could not combine the prayers. Definitely, you might have read in previous chapters how the elements combine together and they pray to the Lord, and Lord enters, and then the elements combine together, and the primary creation started. So that is explained here a little bit in summary. Tani chaikaikasha shashtum asamarthani bhautikam samhatya daiva yogena haimam andam avasrajan.
Separately unable to produce the material universe, they combined with the help of the energy of the Supreme Lord and were able to produce a shining egg.
So they combined and became a. Of course, here it's mentioned as only one egg, shining egg. From basically, it's now things are going at a Mahavishnu level. Everything Prakriti came out of him, and he glanced on Prakriti, and Prakriti produced many elements like Mahatattva, false ego. All these elements are produced, and all the elements could not do anything on their own. So he entered by their prayers. He entered into them, and they all combined. Not only one anda, it's mentioned only one anda here, and of course, either one anda here formed and then it divided into many andas, thousands later on, as explained in this next verse. So Ashayistabdhisalile Andakosho Niratmakaha Sagram Vaivarsha Sahasram Anvavat Ishwaraha.
For over 1,000 years, the shiny egg lay on the waters of the causal ocean in the lifeless state. Then the Lord entered it as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu.
Continue.
From this verse, it appears that all the universes are floating in the causal ocean.
So this is at Mahavishnu level, where all the thousands Ananta Koti Brahmandas are just floating on the causal ocean. They came from the force of the Mahavishnu, and Lord entered. Lord entered here, as mentioned. Then Lord entered into as a Garbhoda Sai Vishnu. Each Brahmanda he entered. So this is kind of just summary he gave the primary creation. From here onwards, how the other things are secondary creation happens. How from Garbhoda Sai Vishnu other things are happening. We will see in
Prabhuji, we
the.
hear that the universes come from the pores of the Lord, na? So this egg is that same thing?
Yeah, some details are different, but the essence is that all that comes from the Supreme Lord force is the Pradhana, and he glances on Pradhana. And we will see that video, will be a little more clear as he made that video. I will just share that one. So yeah. Share sound. So this is kind of a small background also. Let us see with a little faster pace.
Bhagavatam describes about the 10 principal subject matters, out of which the primary one is the Sarga, the primary creation of the universes, Visarga, the secondary creation of living entities, Sthanam, maintenance of the living entities, the geographical locations within the universe are the general function of all the living entities. So in these presentations, we will discuss about Sarga, Visarga and Sthanam step by step. Sarga, Vedic alternative to modern Big Bang theory. It is the primary creation of the universes by Lord Vishnu. The subject matter starts with a question posed by Vidura to Maitreya.
So here you have seen in the second canto, as he is also giving good references from second canto. You read 5th and 6th chapters, and Sarga especially explains, and third canto also explained in 5th and 6th chapters. Of course, till 11, 10, 11 also explains. 12th also explains. 12th explains mainly Visarga. That is explained.
Please speak about the creation of the universe of happiness and suffering. Sarga means Prakrita creation or primary creation, defined by Sukadeva Goswami as Bhuta Matrendriyam Janma Sarga Udavrita. Sarga refers to the manifestation of gross material elements, Tanmatras, senses, false ego, Mahatattva, caused when the Lord transforms the gunas. This is the creation of the totality of matter with 24 elements manifesting from Prakriti by Lord Vishnu's glance. Dravyam karma cha kalascha sabhavo jiva evacha Vasudevat paro brahman na chanyostotti tatvataha. O Brahmana, the elements karma, kala, sabhava and the jiva are non-different from Vasudeva. Nothing but he exists in truth. Dravyam means the elements, the substance of matter which acts like upadana karana. Karma is the cause of birth, kala is the agitator of the gunas, sabhava is the cause of the change in the gunas, jiva is the Hiranyagarbha, the totality of the jivas, the enjoyer. Karma, kala, sabhava acts like nimitta or efficient cause. The universe, which is made up of Maya and Jiva, who are the energies of the Lord, is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, when he wanted to create unlimited universes, material universes, so that Jiva can be facilitated for his superficial enjoyment, he expands himself into the first Purusha, who is known as Mahavishnu or Karnadaka Shai Vishnu. As he lays down on causal ocean and Karna ocean, when time comes from the creation, he breathes out. Then all the universes in their seed form, they come out from various skin pores of his transcendental body. They all together are called as Pradhana. When Lord wanted to further the creation, he glances over that Pradhana, in which the modes are inactive. Pradhana is basically the three modes of material nature are in equilibrium state. When Lord glances over this Pradhana, his glance consists of Kala, Karma, Svabhava. By the entry of this Kala, Karma, Svabhava, the three modes of Pradhana becomes agitated. Initially, the mode of goodness and mode of passion become prominent. That state is called as Mahatattva, giving birth to Mahatattva. Then eventually mode of ignorance becomes prominent, giving birth to Ahankara. And this Ahankara further divided into three parts, which are known as Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Dravya Shakti, which are called as Satvik Ahankara, Rajasik Ahankara, Tamasic Ahankara. From Satvik Ahankara appears mind, its present deity, and 10 sense devatas, the present deities of the 10 senses. From Rajasik Ahankara appears Prana, intelligence, and the 10 senses. From Tamasic Ahankara appears the 5 gross elements with the associated sense objects. This is the entire summary of the creation of the 24 elements. The Karnadakshaya Vishnu, when he wanted to create the universes, the Dravya, the first thing, appears from his various skin pores, and it is called as Pradhana, wherein the three modes are inactive, they are in equilibrium state. Then Lord glances over this Pradhana, and his glance consists of Kala, Karma, Svabhava. As this Kala, Karma, Svabhava enters into Pradhana, they activate the three modes. First, the mode of goodness becomes prominent, giving birth to Mahatattva. Then the mode of passion becomes prominent, giving birth to Sutattva. Then finally the mode of ignorance becomes prominent, giving birth to Ahankara. As the three modes become activated by this by now, they produce Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti and Dravya Shakti. And through these three energies, there appears Satvik Ahankara, Rajasik Ahankara, Tamasic Ahankara. From them manifest mind and the presentity of mind and the 10 senses in the mode of goodness, and prana, intelligence, and the 10 senses, which are the combination of 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas manifest in rajasic ahankara, and tanmatras along with their the gross elements manifest in tamasic ahankara. The 5 tanmatras are sound, touch, form, taste, smell. The 5 gross elements are earth, ether, air, fire, water, earth, respectively. As they are placed along with their properties, the 5 gross elements are earth, water, fire, and ether. Their respective tanmatra, the sense object is smell, taste, form, touch, sound. They are experienced by 5 knowledge acquiring senses: nostrils, tongue, eyes, skin, ears. They are controlled by 5 deities known as Ashwini Kumaras, Varuna, Sun, Vayu, Dig Devatas. And the 5 remaining karmendriyas, the action senses, genitals, anus, legs, hands, voice. They are controlled by Prajapati, Daksha, Murtyu, Upendra, Indra, Agni, respectively. And the 4 subtle elements are mind, intelligence, false ego, consciousness, which are also known as Man, Buddhi, Hankara, and Chitta, which are controlled by Moon, Brahma, Rudra, and Vishnu, respectively. Thus, till now there is the.
So here, that what we read the verses summary, the 5 sets of 5, right now. All these are all 5 sets of 5. The gross elements, tanmatras, the knowledge acquiring senses, and these action-oriented senses, karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, and then controlling devatas, also the 5 sets. So that's how 5 sets of 5 also explained by Prabhupada in purport. And other elements are also there here, all the 24 elements, and they're controlling devatas. You all read in second canto also. Just giving a kind of summary. He will go to further sarga. Now sarga is going on. Visarga will come to picture.
Creation of 24 elements with their presiding deities. The entire process is, as Pradhana was produced from his various skin pores, Lord Karnadaksha Vishnu glances over Pradhana. Then that Pradhana transforms into, step by step, Mahatattva. From Mahatattva appears Ahankara. From Ahankara, in the mode of goodness, appears mind. And in the mode of passion appears intelligence and prana and the 10 senses. And from the mode of passion, the 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas manifested. Then finally, from the mode of ignorance appears 5 gross elements with their 5 sense objects. When all these elements does not know what to do, their representatives pray to the Supreme Lord to engage them in his service. Then Lord entered into all the elements as Paramatma and also as cohesive energy. Then all the elements combined together. Then they expanded themselves into unlimited number of universes, forming the golden shells, the outer coverings made up of 7 layers. And the same Karnadaksha Vishnu, taking all the living entities who are supposed to go to each and every universe, entered into each and every universe, which is made up of 24 elements in 7 layers. As he entered into each universe, he find nothing inside the universe, simply but the dark space. Then he filled the lower half of that universe with water emitted from his transcendental body, and the upper half with sky and air. And then he entered into the Garbhodaka ocean, began to recline on top of his snake bed. Then when the time for creation comes, then he glanced over the living entities who are residing within his own body. Then, being influenced by karma and swabhava, all the living entities pushed forth from his navel as a lotus stem. That lotus grew as big as the entire universe, and its leaf is spread over the entire Garbhodaka ocean. Then, when Lord wanted to further the creation, the Lord entered into the lotus stem as its Paramatma. Then there appeared Lord Brahma on top of that lotus flower. And the same Lord, by entering as Paramatma into this lotus, caused the manifestation of Samishti Virat. Here we see that the lotus manifested as he entered as Paramatma. On top of it, Lord Brahma appeared. On top of that, Lord Brahma, having tried to understand his origin, he performed a lot of austerities. As a result of his austerities, he had the darshan of Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Then, being empowered by Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he wanted to continue the creation further. Then, understanding the mission of his life, he, with the help of the power with his penances, he divided that entire lotus into 3 parts initially, naming them as Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, and Sargaloka, but still he was not satisfied. Then he further divided them into 14 divisions, naming them as 14 planetary systems, named as Patala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Talatala, Sutala, Vitala, Atala, Mahitala, Bhuvarloka, Sargaloka, Maharloka, Jalaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. But still he was not satisfied. He further divided them into unlimited parts. And these entire planetary systems are considered to be the gigantic, gross universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, attributing all these different planets to be different body limbs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, it is the same case with all the unlimited universes which are filled with 14 divisions. Then there is the explanation of the creation by Brahma, which is called as Visarga, the secondary creation of living entities by Lord Brahma. Having created these 14 planets, it is his task to populate these 14 divisions with a variety of living entities. This is called as Vedic alternative to modern theory of evolution. This subject matter begins with a question asked by Vidura to Maitreya, wherein he says, "Let me know how Lord Brahma, the grandfather of the planetary inhabitants, created the bodies of the living entities from his own mind and body after Lord's disappearance, after Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's disappearance." This is called as Visarga, Naimitika Srishti, or secondary creation. The creation made by Brahma specifically by his mind and body to populate the 14 planetary systems that he had created from the lotus stem. This is Lord Brahma's daily creation at the beginning of his day. Sukadeva Goswami defines Visarga as Brahmano Guna Vaishamyad Visarga Purusha Smruta. It means Visarga is the creation of bodies for the Jivas by the resultant combination of the 24 elements that were created by the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu. It is the creation of moving and non-moving entities, filling the 14 planetary divisions of the entire universe. It means giving Jivas forms with intelligence, senses, and body for engaging in material enjoyment, pursuing liberation, or practicing bhakti according to the qualification of the Jiva and to go back to Godhead. These are the 14 divisions made by Brahma, and they are populated by bodies for the Jivas by the resultant combination of the 24 elements, divisions of the entire universe. It means practicing bhakti according to the.
So here, I think till now, Visarga is started. He's starting Visarga. So Sarga is over, or created everything, and so once Brahmaji starts, then Visarga starts. For these chapters, we are reading in the chapter also in 20th. That's also a combination mentioned here. In 10th chapter, 12th chapter also majorly mentioned about Visarga, Brahmaji creations. But all the bodies are made of these 24 elements. All that moving and non-moving, and the divisions also you have seen in 10th and 12th chapters. Little bit more explained in this 20th chapter also, how different personalities are manifested from the Brahma, what are their positions, how they are manifested, what their activities are. So some things are mentioned in this chapter also, but these three are main for Visarga, third canto, 10th, 12th, and 20th chapters. For these are all, but main point is that this all creation Brahmaji does for living entities, as mentioned here, for their enjoyment, also pursuing liberation, and also practicing bhakti according to the qualifications. All the bodily forms, bodily needs, these are all given by the desire of living entity according to their karma and swabhava, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord Himself and by the creation of Brahmaji. So that's the crux of this matter. So we will just, it's already 4:30. We will continue in the next session. But we will read from our section, and then we'll see the other part of the video so that we can understand clearly also the other aspects of Visarga. So these are all okay. We'll read till at least 3-4 verses. We'll come to the main creation later. We will take the question also. We'll read 3-4 verses and we'll pause here. Tasya nabher abhut padmam sahasrakoru diditi sarvajivanaikáyuk auko yatra swayam abhut swarat. Someone will get.
Translation from the navel of the personality of Godhead, Garbhodakshai Vishnu sprouted a lotus flower effulgent like 1,000 blazing suns. This lotus flower is the reservoir of all conditioned souls, and the first living entity who came out of the lotus flower was the omnipotent Brahma.
Prabhupada explains. Read.
It appears from this verse that the conditioned souls who rested within the body of the personality of Godhead after the dissolution of the last creation came out in the sum total form of the lotus. This is called Hiranyagarbha.
He is also called Hiranyagarbha. Living entities are taking form, taking the position. Sonuvishto bhagavata yashete salilashaye loka samstam yata purvam nirmame samstaya swaya.
Translation: when that supreme personality of Godhead, who is lying on the Garbhodaksha ocean, entered the heart of Brahma, Brahma brought his intelligence to bear, and with the intelligence evoked, he began to create the universe as it was before. At a certain time, the personality of Godhead, Karnodaksha Vishnu, lies in the Karna ocean and produces many thousands of universes from his breathing. Then he enters again into each and every universe as Garbhodaksha Vishnu and fills up half of each universe with his own perspiration. The other half of the universe remains vacant, and the vacant region is called outer space. Then the lotus sprouts from his abdomen and produces this first living creature Brahma. Then again, as Karnodaksha Vishnu, the Lord enters into the heart of every living entity, including Brahma. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter. The Lord says, I am seated in everyone's heart, and by me are remembrance and forgetfulness made possible.
So the Prabhupada basically explains the same thing what we have seen. And Prabhupada explains about how this analogy is good. Read this one.
Brahma was the first living entity, and he was empowered by the Supreme Lord to act in charge of the mode of passion. Therefore, he was given the required intelligence, which is so powerful and extensive that he is almost independent of the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as a highly posted manager is almost as independent as the owner of a firm, Brahma is described here as independent because as the Lord's representative to control the universe, he is almost as powerful and independent as the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So he has the almost is like a swarat. Somewhere the word also came. I think last verses. Swarat is word is came for Brahmaji also. So that Prabhupada explains he is independent just like a manager is independent. He has that kind of control is given to him, but by the Lord. Sasarja chayaya avidyam panchaparvanam agratah tamishram mandata mishram tamo moho mahatamaha.
Translation: first of all, Brahma created from his shadow the coverings of ignorance of the conditioned soul. They are 5 in number and are called Tamshra, Andhamishra, Tamas, Moh, and Mahamoh. The conditioned souls or living entities who come to the material world to enjoy sense gratification are covered in the beginning by 5 different conditions.
Yeah, so this verse we'll read next session, very little more elaborate. Prabhupada writes also purport. So these are 5 layers of ignorance, 5 levels of ignorance. The living entities are covered immediately by Brahma created these 5 ignorances. Because otherwise, how the living entity can enjoy, right? Unless he's covered, I cannot enjoy like a dog. I cannot enjoy like a tree. Whatever, the coverings. So these are all different coverings. Prabhupada explains, we will see in the next chapter. But so till this also we have seen in the videos how Brahmaji started creating. This is the how Visarga is doing now. First thing is he does the 5 levels of ignorances. Tamishra and the Tamishra, Tamas, Moha and Mahamoha. We will see what are these and how what will happen by these 5. He quotes beautiful verses from Padma Puran, Vishnu Puran, how these are defined. Tamishra and the Tamishra, Mahamoha, Moha, Tama. We will see in the next class. Okay, we'll pause here. Nandara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who
So
want
I have
to,
just a small question. So
yeah,
we have seen that there is the mode of ignorance created by the Lord, and there is
correct.
also a mode of ignorance which is handled by Brahmaji. So what is the difference between the two? From that mode of ignorance, we understand that the 5 gross elements and their senses, they come in the pradhana, when the mode of ignorance is acting. So then, so how do we understand that mode of ignorance of Lord, which he is handling, and what Brahma is using to create this Tamishra and the Tamishra, like that? What is the difference between the two?
Creation, after Lord glancing that this Hankara you are saying, mode of ignorance.
Tamase Ahankara, yes. That is mode of ignorance. No?
Yeah, when the modes, when he glanced, of course, Lord doesn't have any touch with these modes. But when the Lord invested the time on the Prakriti, and Prakriti has its 3 modes are always there, because Prakriti itself is eternal, right now. We read in Gita also.
Yeah.
In the 13th chapter where Krishna explains Anadi, the Prakriti and the Jivas are Anadi. It's Prakriti is also eternal. Prakriti has that equilibrium state is there. That's called Pradhana. The modes are inactive. That means they are in equilibrium position. Modes are there, but they are not. They are equilibrium means they are not acting themselves. But when the time came into picture, when Lord glanced, in the sense in the form of time, when they came, then they started agitating, and the modes are manifesting. And then one time, when it becomes the mode of ignorance becomes prominent, it's called ahankar, or it's tamasic. So that is from the Lord's, because Lord is beyond all these modes. He doesn't have any kind of touch with them, direct touch. And when what Brahmaji is creating, now the elements are formed from this. All the elements are formed, 24 elements. What Brahmaji is using, his ingredients are given by the Lord. By the Lord in the sense like by the combination of Lord glance and the Prakriti himself. Prakriti is manifested by the Lord entering into all these elements, and all the 24 elements are formed. And now Brahmaji starts creating from all these 24 elements. He starts creating different bodies. So that's the understanding. Brahmaji also uses all
So
these 24
Prabhuji,
elements.
what is the Sutra Tattva, which I see in the middle? Mahat Tattva and Sutra Tattva and
When it
Ahankara.
is different names only, that same the Pradhana, when it is agitated, when the mode is prominent, Sattvic mode is prominent, its name is called Mahatattva.
Mm-hmm.
When the Rajasic mode is prominent, it's called Sutra Tattva. When the mode of ignorance is prominent, it's called Ahankara. That's how it's explained. Not many details are given, like what exactly, whether it's what constituents, it's not mentioned, but it's only, I think it seems the name itself is when it's dominant, Rajasic is called Sutra Tattva. And when it's mode of goodness is super prominent, it's called Mahat Tattva. That's how it's explained. That much only we have information.
Because we can understand from the Tamasika Ahankara, whatever is coming, we can perceive it. For example,
Correct.
mind,
Correct.
the
Correct.
intelligence,
Yeah.
and the gross elements and their objects.
Correct.
We cannot perceive Mahat Tattva or also even Sutra Tattva. So I was just trying to understand if we can perceive them or not.
No, it seems, not much explanation is given. We don't have that kind of subtleties to access those two.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mm.
And then when the world is created, so inside that, then again we inside the universe also we have sattva, rajas, tamas, and in that we have this tamasic and ardhatamishra and all those other things, right? So that
Now these
ultimately
are,
comes from the pradhana only, right?
yeah, these are all, see, once the 24 elements are made, the universe is made and the bodies are made. So all the coverings are also like a part of creation of Brahmaji. Five coverings of avidya. Avidya coverings are compared. Avidya is basically of ignorance, we can say definitely. Yeah, that is done by Brahmaji.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, Mataji, you have a question? Those who want to leave, they can leave.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam. Prabhuji, my question is like we see every universe has its own Brahma. So likewise, Shivji, I mean every universe has its own Shivji also. I mean, मतलब वो शिवजी भी मतलब हर यूनिवर्स के अलग अलग होते हैं.
Yeah, Brahma, Vishnu, Lord Shiva maintaining, and expansions are there, especially as Rudras. Rudras has expansions, they are there in every universe, definitely. Lord Vishnu is there and Brahmaji is creating. Lord Shiva is expanding as Rudras. He is there, definitely. But as Lord Sadashiva is there in Vaikuntha, in there from him expansions come, or the Shivas and Rudras. Yeah. But it's mentioned he is existing definitely as Rudras, as expansions. That will come, I think you might have definitely read also. He is present as Rudras, 11 Rudras. And also when we will see that also that when Brahmaji created Kumaras, and when Kumara said we cannot expand the creation, then Rudra manifested from his eyebrows right now. So that's how he is also manifested from Lord Brahma in this universe. And then he expands into 11 Rudras. Definitely is present in every Brahmanda also. Yeah. These are all little inconceivable for us, but because our scriptures are mentioning definitely, and we understand from the Shastras and from spiritual masters, we accept the presentation of our scriptures and we try to understand from them. Sometimes definitely they are inconceivable from our experience onwards. Yeah. Okay. Anything more? Okay, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Just one question.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me like where we talked about 14 planetary systems, and we know about the Vaikuntha planets, innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual world. So where Prabhuji Brahman is, I mean, how to understand where Brahman is? Is it in spiritual world only?
Brahman is considered as the effulgence of the Lord.
Yes.
Is always, yeah, it's all pervading. I think
Bhagavata cosmology, the
he
mystery of the workings of
will
the
just show, I
seasons,
think,
eclipses, Anadiradir Govinda,
yeah.
Sarva Karana Karana.
You see here,
Okay.
are you able to see?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
See, this is kind of from all the shlokas from various scriptures like Brahma Samhita and many other Puranas. This is kind of a image is made by especially the Gaudiya, Vaishnava, Siddhanta, Sampradaya. They made this one.
Okay.
So from the Brahmajyoti, actually it's considered of overall, it covers all the spiritual world and material world. Brahmajyoti is there. But here the sunshine itself is a reflection of the Brahmajyoti. Prabhupada explains in this material world. Yeah. But the Brahmajyoti is like kind of a in between the spiritual world and material world, is prominently seen as a specific manifestation as Brahmajyoti. But You see the rays coming from the from the Krishna Loka only, right now.
Okay.
All the rays are shown like that. Yeah, because it's a, as I explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's a tanubha, it's a expansion, it's a bodily effulgence of Supreme Lord Himself.
Okay.
Yes.
And Prabhuji, one more thing. Like we say that when we go back to the spiritual world, we don't come back again, right? And
Yeah.
Lord assures that
Yeah.
when you come back to me, you will never fall down again. So the thing is, Prabhuji, wherever we go, not in Golok, but even if the person go to Vaikunta planets, then also it is true.
Yeah, it's, even Brahmajyoti is also true.
But Prabhuji,
Not
we
is,
say that from Brahmajyoti we fall down again if we
that
have.
Arohya
clause is,
kristvena parampadam tatah patanti ada. That shloka.
the clause is there everywhere. The clause is there for from even from Vaikunthas or even from, that's what Prabhupada mentions now. So here, yeah, the inevitable question comes: how it is that Prabhupada explains that we came from Vaikuntha, we came from Krishnalok. Yeah, there are two explanations that we need to understand. Of course, that the theories you definitely might have heard. One proposition is from, of course, this is not much discussed, much we cannot too much go in depth also. Last session also, I think I just mentioned when it came to, I think not here, but yeah, the origin of jiva, the jiva of all. That's a famous argument between two understandings. Whether the living entities came from the spiritual world or whether it is staying in the material world continuously. The two theories are there. That Prabhupada's main proposition is that living entity came from the spiritual world, because as we always read from Prabhupada purports, when he desired to enjoy separately from Krishna, we came to this material world. Yeah, that is one aspect, one kind of one understanding. Another is, we are never there. We are always here in this material world. Avidya, anadi avidya. We are covered by living entities. We covered here. We are staying here. Both are there, but when we go back to the spiritual world, in the sense that is our, but we belong to spiritual world. Mamai vamsha jiva loke jiva sanatana. Right. That is the eternal truth. There is no any kind of doubt in that. The spirit soul belongs to Krishna, or the Supreme Lord, and the spiritual world is existing. That is eternal. That is a fact. And material worlds are existing. That is a fact. Right now, we are here experiencing the material worlds. But how that transformation happened is these two theories explain, two understandings. Prabhupada's mainly focused on Prabhupada is purports and his explanations. Both are mentioned. Like he sometimes mentions that once we go back, there is no return to this material world. Once we go back, Yadgatvana Nivartante. Many purports also he emphasizes that once we go there, no, never come back. But many times he also mentioned that if we again desire, or just like we desired to come here, that's why we are here. So both understandings are there. But Prabhupada many times mentions that Brahmajyoti especially, he mentions this verse that we come back from the Brahmajyoti, also even from spiritual world also. When there is clauses there that we desire, why we desire, how we desire, it's as Prabhupada we read, it's quite inconceivable to understand, and we cannot understand here. But but definitely we need to endeavor to go back to Godhead, to Krishna. So that's the understanding. Little bit.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Yeah, as far as possible, we don't too much discuss on this topic because it's ongoing debates. It cannot, because in one theory, the living entity is at fault. Why desire? Then the question comes, why the living entity has to desire? He's enjoying a spiritual world. Why he has to desire? How the desire came into picture? That is
Prabhuji, one
one.
time I heard it is like that sometimes you are eating sweet, but you have the choice. You can take the mirchi and taste it. So that decision he takes, and then he
That's
never.
where, yeah, that's where question comes. Why at all he has to desire that mirchi?
Because he has
Which
free
is
will, he wants to exercise at least once.
correct. Correct.
So that is a natural outcome
Correct.
of choice.
Correct.
So one cannot decry choice. Choice has to be there. So
Correct.
one of the
Yeah.
outcome is this, but once we go back, we will not come back again unless
Yeah,
we
that's
desire.
so you
So
only
it's
explain the free will.
inconceivable.
Yeah, you only
Yeah.
explain that free will is there always. So
Yeah.
of course other parties say that's where comes how the Supreme Lord is so unkind. He is throwing the living entities into the material world for eternally right now. How Lord can be so unkind? He cannot be now. So it's both sides have their own points to put for it, but yeah, but we belong to Supreme Lord. That's where we need to understand that I belong to Supreme Lord by my Vamsho. I don't belong to this material world. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to be here. But some living entities have that kind of desire to enjoy continuously also. That's what also we experience in this world right now. Those who don't want to be with the Lord, they don't decry the Lord. They say Lord is dead and Lord is not there, Lord is not existing.
Yeah, that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says,
Yeah.
"Anadi kormo pale padi bhavarana
Yeah.
kajale."
So it depends on the living entities. Finally, it's living entities free will, as you mentioned, that it's up to the living entity will be there. But yeah, both are
Prabhuji,
there.
I have heard that once we go back, like we do remember all the sufferings, and so we don't desire again.
Yeah, even I've heard that.
Yeah, that's a good thing that if we don't come back, we also desire that we should not come back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Okay. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai, jai. Thank you.
Srimad
Yeah.
Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai, jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.